How many of you recognize this person? I think it's pretty clear, you know who he is. His name is Justin Bieber. And you know, the cool thing about Justin Bieber is that if I were to ask you guys, right, how many of you here are fans of Justin Bieber? I'm pretty confident that not all of you will raise your hands. In fact, maybe none of you will raise your hands. And if Justin Bieber is in class today, he will not be offended, all right, by this. And the reason is very simple, because he knows that you are not his target market. So one of the lessons that, you know, all celebrities will have gone through, right, when they first join a media agency, when they're being managed, they would have already discussed with their manager, you know, what is the market or what is the audience that they can appeal to. And so one of the first lessons that you want to take note of is this, that when it comes to marketing, when you try to go after everyone, you will end up appealing to no one. When you try to go after everyone, you will end up appealing to no one. And that's the reason why a lot of financial advisors, realtors, network marketers, you are struggling to grow your following on social media because you're trying to go after everyone, and therefore you don't appeal to anyone. And the fact of the matter is that you and I, we are not celebrities, and therefore if we try to go after the mass market, we will fail. Right? So it's very important that when it comes to positioning, today's topics on unique positioning, it's very important to ask yourself, right? What is that market that you want to dominate? The best example I can give you guys, right, is this analogy here. The sea represents the entire market, right? The sea represents your entire country. And if you're trying to go after everyone, you're going to end up being a small fish in the big sea, right? Yes, the sea equals to the entire market and you have a lot of opportunities, but because you have limited marketing budget, you have limited influence, you are going to be almost invisible in the entire sea. No one's going to be able to notice you. Like if right now you're one in 10,000 people are not going to find you, right? You won't stand out. So it's important that when it comes to marketing, you want to be a big fish in a small pond, not a small fish in a big sea. So that's important, all right? So don't be a small fish in a big sea, be a big fish in a small pond. So the whole idea is you want to dominate that market. And before I share with you the how-to, I just want to highlight to you guys that, looking back at, I'm gonna unshare for a while. I want to share that, looking back at my own history, right? I would say that if not for me focusing on the insurance market and also the real estate market and the network marketing market, right? I would not have today's success, right? And a lot of it has got to do with me being extremely focused, on you guys. So I wanna show you something really interesting, and let me put there lesson number 1. All right, about affinity market, and I feel that this is going to be super important to all of you. But first thing first, I like you guys to put it in the chat box, right? Do you even know where is your affinity market? Like, what is your affinity market? So some people might ask me, Eric, what's affinity market? Affinity market is a group of people that have the highest chemistry with you. Like, they will be able to resonate with you more than anybody else. Like for me, I think that, financial advisors and anyone that is in the industry, they will resonate with me very well, which is also the reason why I focus on this particular industry. So I'd like you all to take some time, think about it. Do you have an affinity market? If you don't, it's also okay. You can let me know in the chat box. I'm going to now pull out a document that, will help you guys understand the affinity market as well. All right, so give me a second. Let me find that PowerPoint slide. I have no idea where is it. All right, here are. Not sure. Bruce says not sure. What about the rest of you? Do you know what's your affinity market? Gazelle, hi Gazelle. Okay, so everybody wants to get a link to that thing. Okay, we will get you that link, after the class. Okay, so but not too sure why you guys haven't got it yet, but we will make sure you get it. Now, so let me go back to my slides again. Matthias says random cold call, so don't have a particular one. So you start to realize something, that a lot of us, or at least those people who are participating, right, you realize that, oh my God, Eric, I actually don't really have an affinity market, or I'm sure if I have an affinity market. So let me first explain to you why it's important, right, to have an affinity market besides the following. First of all, if you know exactly who is your affinity market, that means a very specific niche market, then you are able to speak their language. Which is the reason why, like, if I'm going to do a marketing class, and because I know that a lot of my followers are financial advisors, I can use words like insurance. I can say that, I can use words like compliance, and you guys would then feel like, oh my God, this Eric guy, he really truly understands who I am because, he's speaking my language, and that's going to build trust. Number two, when you have an affinity market, it's a lot easier to dominate because, it's like, if I have a cup of water and I put sugar, it's very easy for the water to become sweet. But if I have the entire sea and I put sugar, you will not be able to taste the sugar. So if you focus on a much smaller market, it's very easy for you to be the only choice in that market. And that's the reason why you want to focus on a specific market. Number three, it's a lot easier to attract partnerships. Today, right, a lot of brands out there, they do not want to do mass marketing because it's very expensive and you're essentially just throwing money in the drain. So they want to work with individuals or content creators who are very focused on a specific market. So it's very interesting, guys, that because I'm so focused on that 3 verticals, it was very easy for me to get brand sponsorships or partnerships. Like there are fintech companies that want to work with me. We have lifestyle companies want to work with me because they know that my market is extremely focused. So if they work with me, they get access to the entire insurance market. But if I'm all over the place and I'm trying to go after everyone, then I will have very little influence in every single market. It's like I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. So in today's world, it makes huge sense for you to actually go niche marketing than mass marketing. All right. And obviously, because you are very focused on a specific market, everybody will have talked about you. There's a strong brand presence. Therefore, you will also enjoy a much higher closing ratio. All right, so that's the reason why it is important for you guys to make sure that you have an affinity market. Now, so this, I'm sure you have seen this picture before. This is me when I first started out my career, and it was really pathetic. I have very little people signing up for my class because because my marketing is so general. It doesn't really appeal to anyone. But I think in 2013, when I make a business decision to focus on a few markets and to really dominate the market, in particular the insurance market, I started to blow up, right, in epic proportions. And that was the reason why I was able to move from being a local trainer in Singapore to be a global speaker. And I mean, I'm pretty confident that if you talk to anyone in the insurance field or even the real estate field and you ask them, hey, do you know Eric Fong? They would definitely know who I am. And that's the kind of effect I want you to have, that if you can go after a specific market, and if I ask that specific market, do you know this person? The answer must be yes. And if the answer is yes, at least, you know what, you already won the visibility game, right? Then the next step obviously is to win their trust. So I have many other KRR stars. When I first initially coached them, a very big breakthrough actually came because I spent time helping them find their affinity market. One of the superstars in the KRR community is Lego. And if you read over here, right? Over here, see, dear good people out there, a big turning point during my mentoring with Eric was when I watched the video on finding my affinity market, which is my natural fan base. Because of the process he took me through, which I'll be taking you guys through later, I found my tribe. I now know who truly love me and celebrate me. And thanks to social media, I could find more of them at the comfort of my home. Even when I'm resting this whole period after my operation, good things are coming in. In fact, she's an influencer right now, doing SG home cooks because she was very focused on her affinity market. And she actually qualified for MDRT for the first time. That was 2 years ago. Because she was able to be focused on a specific market and to dominate that market. This is another guy, Albert, also one of my mentees that I work with, and he specialized in special needs families. And that's one of the markets that he really worked on. And because he was so specialized in the market, it was so easy to help him secure media interviews. It was very easy for him to decide what kind of webinars to run and who to collaborate with, which essentially is the trust fund companies and the will writing marketing lawyers. And that's the reason why whenever he ran webinars, he was able to get very good turn up. 7 families were turn up, 6 families were closed, and he has an 85% closing ratio, which is freaking amazing. All right, so that only happens because you are extremely focused on a specific market and that market knows you. Now, am I saying that you can only dominate one market? No, I'm asking you to dominate one market first and then dominate the next market. It's a little bit like the ice cube theory. You know, when you fill up an ice cube tray, you don't anyhow pour water, right? Then you'll take a very long time to fill up the ice cube tray. What you want to do is you pour water in one ice cube until it overflows, then it overflows to the second ice cube, the third ice cube. So it's the same thing. When you dominate and you focus on one market and be so good at that one market, your reputation will precede you and the other markets will start inviting you to do business with them as well. So that was what happened in the real estate world. Because I was so focused on financial advisory, the real estate people were saying that, hey, you know what, everything that you teach with the financial advisors actually do work for us as well. And that was how I entered the real estate market. And then after doing real estate work, you know, people start to know me from the network marketing, and that's essentially how I got to know Alan, you know, and that was how I dominate the market. Recently, I've been approached by the recruitment market, which is your headhunters and recruiters, because they are also like you, salespeople, and they have to do individual sales. Personal branding is very important to them, and etc. etc. So can you imagine, you are still dominating the entire world if you want to, but you need to dominate the world market by market. All right, that's the most important concept you must understand, cube by cube. So here's another one of my students, Jing Guang. All right, he says that to the Sifu that helped me find my target market, thank you so much. All right, your program was truly a turning point in my career. Your ideas and guidance contributed to my MDRT for the past 2 years. And so take note, once you know your affinity market, life's gonna change. Here's another one, Geran. I can give you tons and tons of examples, but I really want to zone in to the point that you must find your affinity market. All right, otherwise there's no foundation, and first of all, you will find building your followers very difficult, and then when I see you in March, building your personal brand is also going to be very difficult because you don't even know who you are appealing to. Okay, now okay, here's another one, Geran. Thanks to Eric Fong, he helped me find my affinity market and contributed to my first MDRT in 4 years. So 4 years no MDRT, on the year that I started working with him to help him. And step number 1, I was helping him to find his affinity market. Boom, all right, he got his MDRT. So that's exactly what we do. So are you guys excited to find your affinity market? If you are excited to find your affinity market, let me know in the chat box, big capital YES. Again, same thing. If you're watching the recording, do the same thing as well. I want you to participate as if this is a live training. Okay, and of course, in future, do your best to try to attend the live training so that you can ask me questions on the spot. Isn't that cool, right? Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, I want to repeat my MDRT. Yeah, let's do that, huh, Alyssa? So, let's go. So, one way to decide what is your affinity market is to start already thinking about the categories of potential markets. So, these are markets that, you can potentially think about. So, there is the millennials. Millennials right now are essentially people who are from 1995 and below, right? So that means 1996. Actually, millennials is a very wide range. Millennials is 1980, that's the oldest one, all the way to about 1995, right? So if you check Google, that the range is really big. So you might even want to specify that when you talk about millennials, are you talking about the younger millennials or you are talking about the older millennials? So that's one way to think about your market. Or another way to think about is you're dealing with young couples, or you're dealing with moms or dads. And when it comes to mom or dads, you can also be dealing with first-time mom, first-time dad, or you're dealing with business owners. And if you're dealing with business owners, perhaps you're dealing with very specific verticals of business owners. Maybe you're focusing on the manufacturing, or maybe you're focusing on F&B, or you're dealing with entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs are usually people who are doing startups, or these days there's this new word called the gig economy, GIG. So essentially they are your freelancers, and so they are essentially also solo entrepreneurs, one-man operation, OMO, and therefore that's also another market that you can focus on. We have working professionals, and under working professionals, perhaps there is a certain profession that you're good at. Maybe all the teachers are a market that you want to go after. Maybe you're very good at the lawyers or the medical doctors. I know of one of our KR staff focusing on doctors and nurses. All right, so that's another way for you to categorize your market. We have the LGBT community. We call that the pink dollars. All right, so this is also another market that's very, very profitable. And it doesn't mean that you need to be gay, to go after that market. Later on, you'll see that, in order to decide what's the market that you want, there are three considerations you need to factor in. All right. And then finally, there is also the senior management market. That means these are people that are really much older, and also have the elderly market, right? The silver generation. So there are multiple ways you can slice the pie, but these are some of the ways that you can start thinking about and which market, are right now available out there. Now, so as I said before, right, when you're thinking about affinity market, you need to be thinking about, what to go after. And one of the biggest mistakes that I notice people face is that they try to go after a market based on how profitable the market is. And let's just say this, okay, every market is profitable if you can dominate that market. Let me repeat that. Every market is profitable if you can dominate that market. So it really doesn't matter which market you chose. You will do well if you focus on it, right? But if you start thinking, I want to go after the high net worth because they're very rich, then yes, as much as you want to go after the market, but does the market have affinity with you? Does the market feel drawn to you? All right, that is also an issue. So this is how I usually think about affinity market. Number one, I usually go after markets that I have the easiest access to. Either I have easy access because I am one of them, or I have easy access because somehow my current network or my existing network, I seem to have a lot of those people. So very easy for me to access those bunch of people. Or another way to think about it is you have a lot of knowledge in the market. So like I know of KR stars who, like, for example, in the past, they were accountants or they were medical reps. And as a result of their profession, they have access to doctors, HR managers. I know one guy who have access to the entire Filipino market in Singapore simply because of his previous job, right? So if you have and also because he dated a Filipino. So if you have a certain knowledge about a market, all right, you can actually also go after the market. Or finally, you have strong interest in the market. Like somehow you just love that market, because I always think that if you don't like that market, right, you only want their money, right? You won't last long in the market because ultimately you need to build relationships with them. You need to spend time with them. So if you don't even enjoy that market, then it's very difficult for you to have a long-term relationship with them. It's the same thing with you guys. Like I thoroughly enjoy the insurance market. Like you can tell me that insurance is very similar to bankers, but I disagree because I think that the approach of the business is very different. The core values are very different. I love insurance agents. I love financial advisors. And that's why I picked this industry because in fact, a lot of my financial advisors, a lot of my friends are insurance agents and financial advisors. That's also how I understand the business so well. So when you are picking your affinity market, it's important to think about these three areas. Which is the market that you have easy access to? Which is the market that you have a lot of knowledge on? Which is the market that you have interest in and you don't mind researching and finding out more about the industry? But provided that you also like the industry, you're drawn to the industry. So that's how I think about affinity market. Okay, now this will be fantastic if you're very new in the market. Then it's a great way because you're starting from a blank piece of paper. For the rest of you, right, if let's say you already have been in the business for a while and you want to, you have been like in the business 1 year at least, you already have an existing market, then I suggest that you start identifying your top 30 customers. So how do you identify your top 30 customers? Very simple. Step number one, go through your entire list of your clientele, whether it's 1 year up in the business or 2-3 years in the business. You can do the same thing, right? And what you want to do is identify who are the clients that contribute the most money to you, right? So that's one. And then number two, you also want to identify which are the clients that you actually enjoy working with, like you really love working with them. So think of it like you have a Excel spreadsheet, right? Left-hand side are all the clients. First column is money. Second column is chemistry. Third column is network. So what you want to do is under the money column, you'll tick, like, does this client give you a lot of money or have the potential to give you a lot of money? All right. And then the next column, do you enjoy working with this client? Do you have a lot of chemistry with them? Do they enjoy working with you as well? And then you put a tick. Finally, does this client has network? Like, is this client giving you a lot of referrals? Does this client have access to a lot of people? Maybe he's an influencer, or he has a very good social media following, or he's a very credible, well-respected individual at work, and he has been giving a lot of referrals, so you can put a tick. So what you want to do is, out of all the clients that you have serviced so far, you want to identify your best clients that have at least 2 ticks. And preferably, the 2 ticks should be money and chemistry or chemistry and network. I feel that the heart is very important. You must enjoy working with them. So what if they have a lot of money, but you know what? You don't enjoy working with them, then I feel that it's also a waste of time. All right. Oh my God, Ilay is here today. Ilay, well, I just talked about you. I don't know if you're here just now. So it's very important that you pick the people that you really enjoy with, because it gives you sustainability. It allows you to have a staying power. So once you identify your top 30 customers, you will start to see a pattern that generally they belong to a certain category. So that was exactly what I did. And that was when I realized that, oh my God, you know what? The engineering companies were giving me a lot of money, but I realized that the engineering companies, they don't refer me a lot of clients. They're very solo, and I don't really enjoy working with them. No offense to them. They are very good paymasters, but I think it's a little bit boring to work with engineers, in my opinion. Okay, so that was why I did not choose the manufacturing as one of the industries I focus on, even though I was very good at it and we had very high demand. We make a lot of money from the industry. There was one particular company called Motu that sells oil, chemical oil, for their cars, for people's cars and motorbikes. Oh my God, every year they spend at least about $60,000-$70,000 with us, and we've been working together for about 6 years. However, eventually I decided that that's not the market I want to focus on. It's not exciting for me, right? And of course, I did the same piece of work with the insurance industries, and I realized that, oh my God, the insurance industries are also very good at paying me. They're very generous, and you guys have very growth mindset. And so I find that I enjoy working with you guys, and insurance company do talk. And so when one insurance company use me, there's a chance that the other insurance company will use me as well. So the network effect is huge. And that's the reason why I chose to work with this industry. And, a couple of months ago, when I nearly lost my dad to heart attack, and we end up, going up, he had to go through 3 surgeries in 5 days, incurred about $400,000. If not for insurance, right? Oh my God, I have to dig into my savings. And $400,000, I can get an apartment. I can buy something. So that gave me extra conviction and drive to be in the insurance industry, because I benefited from it so much, right? I benefited so much from it. So that's the reason why I'm here. All right, so that's how you do it. So it's very important that if you are new, you use this as a guideline, okay? Access, knowledge, and interest as a way to think about what markets you want to go after. Usually just go after 1 to 2 markets. In fact, every social media platform, you only focus on 1 market. If not, you'll confuse the social media platform. So you cannot say that, Eric, I want to go after the LGBT and I want to go after young fathers, because Instagram will get confused, right? So if you want every social media platform focus on 1 market, that would be a lot easier. But my suggestion is pick 1 market, do well first before you invest your time and energy and money in another market. All right, so that's one way of thinking. Use access, knowledge, and interest as a way to filter 1 market. Or if you've already been in the business for a while, then you can look at your existing customers and start analyzing which are your top 30 clients, and there's a certain pattern, and when you see that pattern will represent your affinity market. All right, now once you identify your affinity market, then this is where you can start answering a few questions, right? So there are a few things. Okay, this is something that it's more advanced. If you want, you can start naming your affinity market, like, what's their nationality, generally what's their age group, are they more male, more female? And of course, the psychographics is important as well. Generally, your kind of people, are they more task-oriented or people-oriented? Are they more extroverts or are they more introverts, right? Generally, what are their interests? What are some of the challenges that they seem to be facing? So you'll be very surprised. My market, the people that seems to be very attracted to me, generally are introverts, right? My entire Epic community, right? 40 of them, about 35 of them are introverts. I know this because we recently did a poll. So I realized that my affinity market is actually introverts, not extroverts. All right. So therefore, now that I know that my market is introvert, so I should create more content for introverts so that I can attract more introverts to me, because I'm already having a lot of introverts in my community. Can you start to see, when you start to look at your existing market, you start to see who you attract, and that's how you double down on your attractiveness. Okay. All right. So the rest of things quite self-explanatory. So now one way. By the way, I'll be sending you the slides as well, so don't worry about it. Later on, I'll tell you how to get access to it. But one thing that you want to definitely take note of is this is a more detailed way to describe your market. Okay, but I'll give you a simpler way as well. So once you access that market, I want you to do a little bit of homework, okay? So once you identify your top 30 clients, or when you know that your market is maybe all the young parents, then you want to go reach out to some of your friends, family members, existing clients, and maybe even followers whom you know represent that affinity market, and you want to ask them these 5 questions. I don't care how you ask them. You can take them out for coffee. You can get on a Zoom call with them. You can DM them. Doesn't matter. Just make sure you get access to this information. So what are the information you need to get? These are the 5 questions you want to ask. Number 1, ask them what social media platform they spend the most time on. What time do they usually go online? Who do they follow? What kind of content do they enjoy? And what keeps them awake, at night? Now, the reason why I ask these few questions is because you want to understand your market. If you don't understand your market, you will not know how to create content that will appeal to them. If you don't understand your market, you will not know how to write your bio to appeal to them. If you don't understand your market, you don't know how to find them. So once I know their social media platform, all right, then I would definitely want to build my profile in the social media platform that they're spending the most time on. So if my market tells me they're all the time on Instagram, then I jolly well better be on Instagram. If they tell me what time they go online, then I know what time generally I should post my content. If they tell me who they follow, then I can follow their followers, because chances are, if you tell me you follow person A, then a lot of if my affinity market tells me that they follow person A a lot, then it's very clear cut that a lot of followers of person A would be potential clients of mine, right? So that's how I know it. So for example, if someone tells me that a lot of my affinity market follow some insurance advisor, or they follow a very specific insurance agency, or they follow a specific fintech company, then obviously I'm going to follow all the followers of that fintech company, all the followers of that insurance agency, all the followers of the insurance superstar, because those are also potentially my clients. So remember this, okay? Birds of the same feather always flock together. So if you know who they follow, it makes it easier for you to build your database. So if you tell me that you're going after the LGBT community, then you want to ask them, usually LGBT community, who do you follow? And then you go and follow those people, you end up building a bigger LGBT community. Same thing if you're going after first-time moms. Ask them, where are the first-time mom follow? Oh, the first-time mom follow all these mommy influencers. So if you follow these mommy influencers and you follow their followers, then don't you think that you'll be able to grow your market? Also, if you know who these followers are, in future, you can even build partnerships with them as well. All right, and that's how you amplify your following and your influence. So do not underestimate these 5 simple questions because it helps you understand the market intimately. All right, sometimes I feel that knowing your audience is more important than knowing your products. All right, maybe I shouldn't say that. I should say that knowing your products is important, but knowing your audience is just as important. Okay, now, and also understand what kind of content they enjoy so that you know what kind of content to produce, right? So lately, I noticed that a number of insurance agencies have been sharing my YouTube content and Facebook content during team meetings, and I love it. And I start to pay attention to what kind of content they are sharing so that I can create more of those content so that they can show it in their team meetings. So even though I only got 24 hours, but you know what? My videos are there 24/7, which means that they will always get a chance to see me, hear me, remember me. I'll always be top of mind. All right, so you want to know what kind of content people enjoy to create similar content so that your content will do well. Finally, what keeps you awake every night, right? Which is the challenges, because ultimately every single piece of content you create is to add value. And the best way that you can add value is by helping people solve problems, which is the reason why, I know what you guys are facing, right? Your challenges is growing your followers. Your challenges is struggling with creating content. Your challenges is that people don't like to talk to you. So because I know these are your challenges, I know exactly what kind of content to create. In fact, on Monday, 除夕夜, right, the Christmas, Chinese New Year Eve, you'll be seeing this video, which is 8 ways to engage your prospects and clients during Chinese New Year. Why do I create content? Because I know that that's your challenge, right? A lot of you are going to be meeting your friends and family members, your prospect, your client, but you don't know how to introduce the topic, of insurance, for example. So I created that video to solve that problem. And if I understand your problem well, and if I articulate your problem well, you will also automatically assume that I have the solution. Let me repeat that. If you can articulate and describe the person's problem precisely, they will automatically assume that you also have the solution, the perfect solution. So that's the reason why you must take the time, to understand what keeps them awake every night. This is so freaking important. So step number 1, go find your affinity market using what I've taught you. Step number 2, go start interviewing them. It's supposed to be an ongoing process so that the more you understand them, the more empathy you will have when it comes to creating content. You will also know how to grow your followers. You know who to partner with as well. All right, and you will also know what social media platform to be on. Now, before we take some questions and we close, all right. So this is one of the popular questions I get asked a lot. Eric, what if I got a few affinity market? Who do I pick? So number 1, I will ask you which affinity market you are most passionate about. I always believe that you should pick a market that you're most excited to serve. Number 2, which is a market that you can relate to the most? You have a lot of knowledge about that market. You are very similar with that market because they also need to be able to connect with you. Number 3, which is the group that you are able to add the most value to? So these are the 3 questions that I will think about when I'm assessing the different markets. And obviously, I'm very passionate about the insurance market. All right, I'm very passionate about the network marketing market. I'm very passionate about the real estate market. But for real estate, very specific to realtors who are interested to build their personal brand, not overly reliant on running ads. So these are the 3 markets I'm super passionate about. And that's why I serve the market. And because I got so many friends in network marketing, in real estate, in insurance, I absolutely can relate to you guys. I know how to speak your language. Sometimes people even think I'm in the insurance market or I'm a real estate agent. And finally, I know I can add most value to you because most of you are selling a service. You're selling something invisible. And I'm also in the service line. I'm in the service business and selling education. Therefore, I find myself, gravitating to you guys because I know I can add the most value to you, right? Which is the reason why you're part of the KLR community. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys, as I told you. So I hope you enjoy this bite-sized class. So every January, March, May, we will have an hour plus session to cover different aspects. All right, these are all new topics. that you will not find in the social selling series. And then, the important thing is you need to take time to implement. No point you just learn from me and you don't take action, right? But I guarantee you this, that the minute you take action, you will have questions, and that's when February, April Q&A will come in. So remember this, okay, the Q&A sessions are there to help you, with your implementation. So don't waste those sessions, okay? It's very, very precious, all right? Now, let me see if there's anything I want to highlight to you as well. So I also put down 5 pointers there. Numbers do not matter at first, so don't worry too much about, oh, my existing affinity market is very small right now. Don't worry. It's more important that you know what is your market, and then you grow that market. Because once you know what's that market, when you go into the social selling program, the e-learning program that we talked about just now, it's so easy to grow your followers already. The minute you know who you want to focus on, it's so easy to find out on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Okay, so numbers don't count. If you don't have a lot of knowledge about the market, I'm also not so worried. It's not the most important thing. It's not a deal breaker, because you can always learn more about that market. But just remember this, okay? Whichever market that you pick, you will make money if you dominate that market. And you know what? Don't also be very fearful, like, oh, if I pick the market and I fail, how? It's okay. Give yourself about 1 to 2 months to try that market. And if it doesn't work, you can always switch, all right? It's not as if the minute you pick a market, you cannot change the market. Yeah? So all these are some of the guidelines that I have for you when it comes to finding your affinity market. Okay, so let's answer some questions if you should have any questions before we close. Number 1 by Elay. Is that Elay? Oh, L, is it? I can't really see very clear. I think it's L. L-O-A. How do you target working professionals on IG, such as engineers and teachers? So if you actually look at the IGSS program, I taught you a little quick technique. So the technique is to look for them on LinkedIn first, because it's a lot easier to find professionals on LinkedIn than on an Instagram platform. So what you do is that you search for all the working professionals like engineers and teachers. Always add teachers and engineers who are from your network first. Add people who know you, and then from there you search for more so that you access their network. And then of course you can talk to them and try to create common ground with them. So either you said that you used to be an ex-teacher, or you have a lot of clients who are teachers, so you enjoy working with teachers and you want to connect with them on LinkedIn. And then you can also ask them, by the way, do you also have Instagram? And then if they say yes, you then add them over to Instagram. So LinkedIn is a perfect place for you to find professionals. So that's one way you can actually build your database. Okay, so I hope I answered that question, L.